In this video, we're going to show you how to do an oil change on a Ford F-450. So the location for the oil filter and oil filter cap is right here in the center. There's two caps side by side on a 6.4 diesel, and the difference between the two is one has a rounded plastic edge, and this one's more of a square box edge. You can see it how it doesn't have the curve to it. That's the oil filter, and that is a fuel filter. So the first thing I like to do with a diesel for when I'm changing the filter is I like to take a pan and keep it close by because this cartridge has a lot of oil that comes out of it. 36 millimeter socket, and we're going to break this canister cover right off. I want to lift it up a little slowly because I don't want to spill that oil everywhere. It has a lot of right in this little compartment. You can hear the air starting to bubble and suck, hoping that oil goes right down into that chamber. It releases any pressure. So there's our cover, and then here's the filter. You're going to grab it and pull it, lift it up, let it kind of drip a little bit, go right into that pan. Once you raise your vehicle up or you get underneath, you find the location of the oil pan. It's the lowest point of this steel pan, and there's the drain plug. Now it's either a 19 millimeter or 3/4 inch. I'm going to use 3/4. Mine's a little worn, the plug is, but we'll break it free. Make sure you have a good bucket because a diesel takes about 15 quarts of oil. So and make sure you let that drain completely out. Could take several minutes, but ideally you want all the oil out. So now that all the oil has drained out, we can replace the drain plug and start it by hand, of course. And in case yours is stripped, like mine was, I'm replacing it with a new drain plug and gasket. Always do a new gasket, even if you're not replacing the drain plug. It happens to be, this particular pan is 14 by 125 thread pitch. That's the size of that bolt. 19 millimeter or a 3/4 inch socket. We're going to snug it up, and now I'm going to torque it to factory spec, which is 32 foot-pounds. I'll get some parts cleaner and clean up the area. That way, once we run it, we can confirm there's no oil leaks. So you're going to put the new O-ring on the filter cover, and you see that big groove right there? That's where that O-ring is going to sit right in. So the best way to do it, start it, and then just work your way right around to the other side. Make sure it's in that groove all the way around, and then get some fresh new oil. I just dapped it in the cover to the gallon, and coat that O-ring all the way around. You're going to take that new filter and see the little tabs right there. They're going to go right in that top, and they'll snap in. Feel that, make sure it seats. And then you're going to bring it right over to the oil filter housing casing, and then just push it right down in. Start it by hand, always. Plastic loves to get cross-threaded, and that's not what we want here. You're going to feel it easy until it gets to that O-ring part, and then it's going to start to get really difficult to tighten, and that's normal. So we're going to take our 36 millimeter socket and our ratchet. We're just going to snug it down, and then we'll end up torquing it to the specs. Now the cover does have the specs on it, so you can see the torque spec right on there, and it is in Newton meters. Still got a pretty good gap there. Just bringing it right down to till it's snug. 36 millimeter socket, and the torque specs is 25 Newton meter or 18 foot-pounds. That's exactly what you want, like that. Now I would take parts cleaner. I'd clean any residual oil that you might have spilt during that whole process, and then we'll start adding oil. So the fill for the oil on this is right over here. You see this little canister with this air tube. You're going to take the cover off, it says engine oil on it. Now, all depends on where you live. There's different types and grades of oil. So we're using 1540. That's a pretty standard diesel oil. It's good for like -7 degrees. Then they also have 10W30, 10W40, or 1030. But we're using the 1540, and it's 15 quarts. So you can start adding oil. So now we have our 15 quarts of oil in there, and we're going to replace that cover. Now I'm going to start the truck, shall I say, and I'm going to let it run for like 5 minutes, then I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to wait about 10, then I'll check my oil level. That way I can confirm that it's the proper oil, all the oil's drained back down in the pan, and I don't have to add any more. My dipstick location is over here on the driver's side next to the coolant overflow. So we're going to take that out. We've waited our 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm going to wipe it clean. Make sure it's clean, and you can see the X's. That's where you want the oil, is in those X's. Even a little less is better than overflow. The seals will start to blow if you overfill oil. There's too much pressure behind it. Now we're going to get the true reading. Perfect. It's right there on the X's. When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.